Welcome, Neel. Thanks for joining us. Our findings highlighted the importance of collective intelligence via a fraud consortium. I think it'd be useful to start by asking if you can briefly explain to our audience what a fraud consortium is.
Thank you, Paul. So, the Fraud Data Consortium, often referred to simply as Fraud Consortium, is a collaborative effort among multiple organizations to share and pool information related to frauds, security threats, and other malicious activities. These organizations can include financial institutions, e commerce companies, telco, and government agencies, and various other organizations which are dealing with fraud prevention and risk management. The primary goal of Fraud Data Consortium is to enhance the collective intelligence and ability to detect and prevent fraud by leveraging the collective and combined knowledge and resources of its members. The Fraud Data Consortium members contribute data to the consortium to just make sure that the database keeps on increasing and gets enriched as we speak in real time. And the real time information sharing becomes key to the success of a fraud data consortium. We definitely use some of the collective intelligence with the help of advanced analytical tools, and those tools are powered by machine learning and AI. Patterns, trends, and some of the other aspects of it are identified by correlating the shared information. This becomes a lot powerful than any single organization working to prevent fraud. As I always mention, and I keep telling this, that there is no single organization which can defend or which can protect fraud or prevent fraud in silos or in isolation. It has to be a combined effort, it has to be a collective intelligence, it has to be a collaborative knowledge and resources. Sharing best practices are definitely key to preventing and combating fraud.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Very good. So I'm just going to build straight from that point and get a little bit more detail around the benefits. Now you've explained what it is. What's the benefit from a consortium in terms of the members that are involved? What are the key things that it can help improve from a fraud prevention perspective?
So the fraud prevention definitely is cannot be fought by one single organization. No single organization can claim that I can definitely combat fraud in isolation. It has to be definitely attacked through a united group. Fraudsters are uniting across the globe. Fraudsters from Thailand, fraudsters from other continents are definitely having a nexus. And so, to answer them, to combat those kind of fraud, we definitely need to have collaborative effort, and we need to collaborate to win on them. To win that battle, we definitely need a collaboration. That is one. There are other aspects to it as well. The benefits comes from you know uh, what kind of database you have. So database can be definitely from multiple organizations. When you contribute data, those data definitely gives you lot more efficacy. It is directly proportional to how much database you have in the consortia. When it comes to telcos, there can be one or two players or five players who are having maximum market share. There are players like financial institutions which are huge in number but low in size of database. Then we definitely need more number of players in the CUG. The benefits which they draw is collective intelligence. And when they collaborate in terms of resources, best practices, and some of the stuff in terms of machine learning capabilities, AI capabilities, and shared information in real time becomes the key to beat this menace of fraud across the globe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, very, very interesting in terms of the benefits. And lastly, again, just building on the benefits from a kind of measurement perspective, what are the key metrics for success of a fraud consortium?
So there are multiple, I would say, elements to the success of a fraud consortia. Fraud consortia, the key elements would be definitely, size of the data, which I mentioned. The size of the data, I would like to give one example of it, and from Hunter Consortia perspective in India, which has a huge database of 250 million records. And it is growing at a pace of 12 million applications a month. Per month, we are increasing the database by 12 million. So that's a phenomenal growth. As it grows, definitely it gives a lot of efficacy to the checks which you do. That is one. Second is definitely how can you reduce the false positives? The biggest threat right now and the biggest challenge, I would say, to incorporate or adopt fraud solutions are also false positives. Most of the companies are fighting, and there is a delicate balance between fraud prevention and revenue generation. So when it comes to that balance, we definitely need to work on building a solution which can definitely minimize your false positive. So some of the key areas and key metrics to minimize those false positive would be relying on machine learning and AI tools. Some of the tools and machine learning models are boon to this, and they can become a game changer in terms of minimizing your false positive and increasing your revenue generation. So these are some of the points which definitely impacts a lot. When it comes to number of members in the consortia, that also impacts a lot, because there is a feedback loop which runs when a consortia is formed, right? As many players are there in the consortia, there will be combined strength of resources, and combined knowledge will definitely become a boon to uplift the entire consortia efficiency and performance. The consortia is as good as uh, how can you adopt quickly to the emerging threats, to the emerging other pieces in terms of fraudsters are evolving day in and day out. They are working 24/7 to beat you. And definitely, in order to win over them, you need to have a better solution, a better collaboration, and definitely a determination and collective intelligence to win over this battle.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks very much for highlighting the power of sharing data between organizations to combat fraud as it continually evolves and becomes more sophisticated. So that's the end of our quick question and answer. So thanks very much for your time, Neil. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, for having me here. Thanks a lot.